Welcome, stranger, to Mortar and Ivy. I'm your host, John E. Reno. Ever believe you were born at the wrong place at the wrong time? Many of us are discontent with the era in which we exist. Whether we feel it is too complicated, too commercial, too superficial, and we yearn for a simpler time when the world was still large and mysterious and magic existed. This channel aims to revisit those bygone days of kings and queens, dukes and dragons, by analyzing the remnants they've left behind, both the physical remains that dot our landscape and the cultural traditions that we still follow, yet forget why. After all, the study of history is not for the benefit of the past, it's for insight to our very own present. And so we have Mortar and Ivy. Civilization can be visualized as a great tower being continuously built year after year, brick by brick, growing ever skyward. The bricks of this tower represent our history as a species, from its base set deep in the proverbial mud to modern day, nearing ever higher toward outer space. These bricks are held together by two forces: the mortar, or truth, that connects our past, and the ivy, or the myth and folklore that grows around it. Both truth and myth are integral components of who we are, who we were, and who we might someday become. And rarely are they all that discernible. Now, I will try to keep the content of this channel fun, because that's the point in it. So don't expect too many lectures on the plaster shortage of 1640, or the history of gout in the Faroe Islands. At the same time, I consider myself a serious historian. So when covering such topics as who built the pyramids or who are the Illuminati, don't expect me to run amok with what historians and scientists generally agree with. Not that I don't agree with many alternative theories, it's more that I prefer not to jump to any conclusions. There's nothing more embarrassing than showing certainty in the face of speculation. On this channel, we will immerse ourselves in 11 different topics of interest, categories connecting these antiquated disciplines: theology, literature, legend, history, heraldry, geography, genealogy, film, esoterica, and art. We will also have a playlist for miscellanea that doesn't quite fit with the other categories. In theology, we will discuss and dissect the various Western religions and how they've evolved into modern society, contrasting the different sects and denominations throughout the millennia. We'll explore famous religious figures and their principles, beliefs, and accomplishments. Throughout history, the separation of reality and spirituality was seldom acknowledged, and religious philosophy was as credible as mathematics. In literature, we'll examine written works from biblical texts to Gothic mysteries, analyzing how these works reflect the periods they were written, as well as the periods that preceded their compositions. Fantasy literature will be especially front and center, as many elements of old superstition exist today within the fantastic realm, in everything from Lord of the Rings to Twilight. Legend is reserved for the people, places, and objects that especially captivate our imaginations. From Achilles to Atlantis, ghost ships to the Holy Grail. Science dictates legendary subjects to the realm of myth and irrationality. And yet the stories live on. With each new generation, more and more people swear on their credibility. It's a topic worthy of discussion. History is a category that does not require explanation. Moments in modern day echo events in the past. In these segments, we'll discover the heroes and villains that shaped our understanding of the human record, and how their reputations might have changed with the passing of time. For geography, we'll be taking a virtual tour of historic and prehistoric locations of unique importances, whether they be sites of legend, tragedy, historical importance, cultural importance, or supernatural occurrences, as well as some old places that just look rather nice. In genealogy, we will delve into our roots. Who we are is pretty well determined by who our ancestors were. I mean, they're literally responsible for our existence. The study of family lines is an intriguing one, and I hope we can uncover some surprises along the way. Heraldry is an interesting topic, and goes somewhat hand in hand with genealogy. Modern devices such as brand logos, signatures, national flags, the list goes on, developed from this ancient art. Too little is discussed today of heraldry, and I insist we talk about it more. I mean, coats of arms and that ilk, it's pretty sweet. In film, we'll look at the many ways that history, myth, and literature is translated to the screen. Everything from biblical epics to Jane Austen romances to Harry Potter to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is drenched in historical elements. It is these elements we'll focus on, breaking down the various ways they continue to inspire and determine good and bad filmmaking. Expect a lot of Russell Crowe and Keira Knightley in this category. Esoterica is the study of alternative thought. In this category, we'll look at all the crazy ideas that folks have drummed up in the past. Is the earth flat? Was Jesus black? Did he father children? Does the Pope own a time machine? You know, important stuff. Lastly, we have the art category. In art, we'll look at art. And that's just the start. We will be adding more categories as the channel grows. We'll deliver content in easy to digest top 10 lists and that sort of thing to start with, diverging towards more meatier debates, news, book reviews, and video essays as time goes on. And that's our channel. What do you think? Does it sound interesting? What would you like to see us do? Let us know in the comments. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter. And be sure to like and subscribe for more content from Mortar and Ivy, preserving the culture and class of our glorious past. I broke my glasses.